Namaste, everyone. Welcome once again to our November 2024 edition of Swarshravan. The season of Thanksgiving is fast approaching us, and on behalf of our entire Swarras family, I want to sincerely thank and applaud our Guruji Manoj sir for bringing us this wonderful musical presentation by the greats of our classical music. He does it every month. Thank you so much, sir. Also want to express our deep appreciation and naman to all the wonderful artists whose music we've had the good fortune of listening to and relishing. And thank you, all the viewers, as well, for your steadfast support and appreciation of our presentations. So, do like, subscribe, and share our music channel and contents with everyone in your network. Thank you so much. So, Sairam, sir, over to you for our presentation for today.
Thank you so much, Seshadri ji, and namaskar to everyone. And welcome to the 45th episode of Swarshravan. Today, we are going to talk about a contemporary instrumental maestro. We all know the legendary Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia ji. He needs no introduction. An amazing flutist, and something that people are not aware of about him is as to how many wonderful students he has produced. So I remember when I was growing up, I used to listen to Pandit ji, obviously, just like every one of us. A great fan of his blowing, especially, that he revolutionized. And in many of the radio performances, of course, I was an avid, passionate radio listener since the time I was growing up. So in many of the radio performances of Panditji, and also in many of his live performances, I would constantly hear one name. They announce the names of accompanying artists, right? So there would be a tabla player and a tanpura player and somebody who would accompany Panditji on the flute. And every time Panditji would play, or at least most of the times, I would hear this name, and I used to wonder, wow, how lucky he is to be accompanying Panditji in so many of his concerts, and what an amazing experience it might be for him to share the stage with such a legend, right? And then this name kept cropping up every time, and then he ventured into many other genres of music, started playing solo flute, and that's when I realized, wow, what an amazing artist, and someone who's not recognized as much as he should be. And yes, he is our artist for today. The name that I would constantly hear along with Panditji, and someone who has now carved a niche for himself, as Panditji and many others on their own have themselves said. And the artist for today is none other than the contemporary flute maestro Pandit Rupak Kulkarni ji. Yes, Pandit Rupak Kulkarni. So Panditji was born in a musical family. His father, Pandit Mallhar Kulkarni ji, was a very well recognized flutist, and of course, as there was flute in the house itself, Rupakji began learning flute, and his father, Pandit Mallhar Kulkarni ji, was his first guru. And as Rupakji would say in his interview, that he would do riyaz early in the morning, and he would then attend to his school, do everything else, and that's how his day would pan out to be, right? And then of course then the story continues, which of course we will talk about as we move forward in the session, right? So the first composition that we are going to listen to from Pandit Rupak Kulkarni ji, is in a very, very popular late night melody, a very grand rag. As the name also suggests, rag Darbari or Darbari Kannada, as it is called. And of course, all of you are very, very familiar with the rag, right? It's a very, very popular rag. Sada Sare Ni sa re da ni pa sa. So that is Rag Darbari, and we are going to listen to Panditji play for us two compositions, Vilambit Ek Tal, 12 beat cycle in a very slow tempo, followed by Drut Teen Tal, fast composition in 16 beat cycle of Teen Tal. And then we'll talk about his playing style and all those things after this first composition. So, Rag Darbari, Pandit Rupak Kulkarni ji. Wow, wasn't it so amazing? The first piece that we heard, Rag Darbari. Something very interesting that I don't know if all of you heard it very carefully, but Panditji's flute was accompanied by harmonium, and that's a very rare thing that we would see in a flute recital. Now, here I would like to specifically talk about the two ways in which flute as a performing instrument is played, right? One in the vocal style. So, sorry. So, one in the vocal style in which the flute player is playing a vocal composition, and that's exactly what we heard Panditji do now, right? He played Vilambit Ek Tal and Drut Teen Tal. So Vilambit Ek Tal, like I said, 12 beat cycle in the slow speed, and Drut Teen Tal, fast paced 16 beat cycle. Now, these kind of compositions are typically sung and not played on an instrument. Not that they can't be, but the percentages are very low of instrumentalists playing these kind of compositions, which is why there is a second type of instrumental performance which is called the instrumental style. So the first style was the vocal style, which is called the Gayaki Ang, which is what we heard from Pandit Rupak Kulkarni ji, and the second style is the Tantrakari Ang, the instrumental style. Tantrakari, right? So that is the instrumental style of presentation. And we are going to hear that also from Pandit Rupak Kulkarni ji, because his guru, Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia ji, was a master at Tantrakari. So, but this one we heard was the Gaiki style, and Panditji's father, who I said was his first guru, he was the exponent of the Gaiki style, and that is from where I'm sure Panditji picked up this style, and that's what we heard just now. And even then, I had not heard anybody playing an instrument in the Gaiki style being accompanied by harmonium, and this was a first for me. So it was so amazing that he was being accompanied by the harmonium. And so now the performances that you will hear from him in this session, in those you will notice a difference in the way he played this first performance and from the other performances that we are going to listen to, because those performances are predominantly going to be Tantrakari, the instrumental style, right? So that was something very unique that I thought I felt after this first performance that we heard just now, in which, like I said, Rupak Kulkarni ji played in exactly the way a vocalist would elaborate a rag, right? And that's why we call this the Gaiki Ang, Gaiki style. So, like I said, he learned initially from his father, and at the age of 14, he became the first ever official, as they call it, Ganda Bandh, meaning, you tie the sacred thread. So he became first such disciple of the legendary Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia ji. And just imagine, the age of 14, you become the disciple of such a legend. And then, you learn for so many more years to come. And because 14 is such a young age, right? So, and especially when you've already learned a bit of flute, as was the case with Panditji. So it was so amazing that he got a chance to learn with Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia ji. And of course, the rest is history, right? Great. Yeah, sorry for that slight elaborate discussion about Gaiki and Tantrakari styles of playing, which I felt was necessary, because that's what we are going to hear, both the styles in this session today. So, the second rag that we are going to play for you by Pandit Ji is an afternoon melody from the family of the Sarang rags, Sarang family of rags. And the rag that we are going to listen to from Pandit Ji is called Madmad Sarang. Rag Madmad Sarang, in which you have only 5 swars. The third note G and the 6th note Dha are absent, and Ni is Komal. So basically it sounds like Sa re ma pa ni sa, sa re ni sa ni pa ma re, re pa ma re ni re, sa ni pa ma pa ni sa re, re pa ma re ni re sa. This is Rag Madmat Sarang, and we're going to listen to Pandit Ji play a composition in Madhyalay Jhaptal, 10 beat cycle. So here we go, Rag Madmat Sarang with Pandit Rupak Kulkarni Ji.
You are viewing Sesh Neelakanth's screen. Sesh Neelakanth has started screen sharing. Voiceover off.
Wow. So different, right? From the first rag that we heard, a very deep, slow Darbari Kannada. From that presentation to this one, very lively, very upbeat sort of a rag Madmat Sarang, afternoon rag, but a very happy sounding rag, right? So that was rag Madmat Sarang. And as you saw in this one, it was a typical instrumental style of playing. So in instrumental style, what happens is, unlike the vocal style in which the singer tries to halt on every note and does like a proper elaboration, and of course at a much slower speed. In this one, you heard like Panditji, of course, he was halting on swars, but there were like all cluster of swars that he was presenting for us, like, like small intricate patterns that we heard, not that elaborate or not that much of a halt as in the first presentation, but very much woven into very intricate patterns of swars, and of course at a much faster pace. This was Madhyalay, middle tempo, Jhaptal, 10 beat cycle that we heard him play just now, right? So that was the main difference. And that's exactly what we're going to see in the next presentation that we're going to hear from him. And this one, interestingly, is a rag that I heard for the first time from Panditji, and that is called Samrin Mallhar. Samrin, Samrin Mallhar. And then Panditji actually in this recording, just before he started the recording, of course I did not use that portion of the recording, so this is an edited version, right? So but probably he played this recording as a part of a concert, and in that he says that this is very similar to Rag Des, but with just one knee, Shuddha knee. Now what does that mean? For that, we'll first try to understand Des. And Rag Des is Sa Re Ma Pa Ni Sa Sa Ni. Now this is the Komal Ni that I sang. Sa Ni. Now in this rag, Samrin Mallhar, there is no Komal Ni. So instead of Sa Ni, it will be Sa Ni Dha Pa Ma Pa Dha Ma Ga Re Ga Ni Sa Sa Ni Pa Ni Sa Re Ma Ga Re Re Ma Pa Dha Ma Ga Re Re Ga Ni Pa Ni Sa Ni Pa Dha Ma Pa Ni Ni Sa Re Ma Ga Re Ga Ni Sa. Now that is Samrin Mallhar for you, and we are going to listen to a composition by Pandit Ji that he plays in Adha Teen Tal, which is very similar to Teen Tal, but little different with a slight bit of lilt. And of course, just like Teen Tal, it is 16 beats cycle. So let's listen to Rag Samrin Mallhar from Pandit Rupak Kulkarni ji. Wow. It was a unique rag. It was very fascinating. I was wondering what Samrin Malhar would mean, and when Panditji explained the difference between Des and Samrin Malhar, and also the closeness between the two rags. So it was very fascinating to listen to. And so in this composition, like you heard, it was almost like, although it was, predominantly meant to be instrumental, but still the way the pace was kept, it was almost like how a vocalist would sing, right? So that's the beauty of some of these instrumental compositions when you hear from instrumentalists. I remember in one of the previous sessions of Swarshravan, one of the instrumentalists about whom we were talking, he mentioned that it is all based out of vocal music. So any instrumental music that you listen to, everything is rooted via the vocal style of singing, because all the instrumentalists, they're all influenced by vocal music because they have heard so much of vocal music, and that's what they incorporate in their instrumental playing, right? So the base is always vocal music. So you will have touches of vocal music all the time, even when you're listening to instrumental music, right? So that is the beauty of our music. Now to one of the most interesting segments of our session, and that is the interview with the artists. So here we go, Pandit Rupak Kulkarni ji talking about his journey.
सबसे पहले आपके माता पिता का जिक्र और आपके उस बचपन का जिक्र जो सबसे प्यारा बचपन होता है, और उस इलाके का जिक्र जहां आप पले बढ़े।
जी, मुझे तो अभी भी लगता है मैं अभी भी बच्चा ही हूँ क्योंकि संगीत एक ऐसी चीज़ है जो हमेशा आपको जवान रखती है,
बिल्कुल
यंग रखती है।
बिल्कुल।
और जिस संगीत की जितनी साधना रहे, कोई भी संगीत हो, शास्त्रीय संगीत हो, वेस्टर्न म्यूज़िक हो या फोक म्यूज़िक हो या फ्यूजन हो, जितना आप करेंगे, करते जाएंगे, बजाएंगे या सुनेंगे, आपका मन हमेशा प्रसन्न रहेगा और बहुत ही खुशी रहेगी। तो मैं अपने आप को अभी भी बच्चा समझता हूँ। मैंने अपने दिमाग में मेरा उम्र 25 तक
रोक रखा है।
हाँ जी। तो
पले बड़े कहाँ?
हम वैसे है कर्नाटक के।
अच्छा।
मगर पिताजी बम्बई आ गए और बम्बई में करीब 1962 से बम्बई में है पिताजी मेरे। और मेरा जन्म तो वैसे हुआ कर्नाटक में, मगर मेरा एजुकेशन पूरा हो गया मुंबई में। अच्छा। मुंबई में हुआ तो मैं अपने आप को मुंबई का ही मानता हूँ। तो मैं सुबह 4 बजे उठकर रियाज करता था। अच्छा। क्योंकि मुझे किसी ने बताया था कि 4 से 6 ब्रह्म मुहूर्त है। अच्छा। तो उसमें रियाज करेंगे तो वो चौगुना या दुगना होता है। तो न जाने कहाँ सुना था, मेरे दिमाग में वो बात फिट हो गई। और सुबह 4 बजे, पौने 4 बजे उठ के मम्मी चाय बना के देती थी, चाय बिस्किट खा के रियाज करता था। 3-4 घंटा जो भी होता, बाद में स्कूल जाना, फिर कॉलेज जाना। तो किसी दिन मैं नहीं उठता 4 बजे, तो बांसुरी की आवाज़ उस वक्त तो शांति रहती है, उसमें आजकल जैसा ट्रैफिक या कुछ शोर शराबा नहीं था। तो फिर मेरे पहले से पूछते थे, आज क्यों नहीं उठे, आज क्यों नहीं रियाज किया तुमने? तो मुझे लगता था कि ये मैंने बहुत बड़ी गलती की है। तो मैं कोशिश करता था कि सुबह 4 बजे उठूँ और रियाज करूँ।
यूँ तो जैसे आपको बचपन से ही संगीत का माहौल मिला, वो वातावरण मिला, पर जैसे हम कहते हैं ना कि पक्के तौर पर आपके लिए ये कब तय होता है कि आप बांसुरी विधा में ही जाएंगे?
देखिए, मेरे घर में ही संगीत था। मेरे पिताजी पंडित मल्हार कुलकर्णी जो मेरे पहले गुरु है, तो उन्होंने वो सुबह 6 से रात दोपहर को 12 बजे तक और दोपहर में 3 से रात को 10 बजे तक घर में ही सिखाते थे बांसुरी और तबला। तो मुझे खुद को ही पता नहीं चला कि मैं कब तबला शुरू किया बजाना और कब बांसुरी मेरे हाथ में आ गई। एक वाकया बताता हूँ आपको कि मुझे क्रिकेट का बहुत शौक था और मैं विकेट कीपिंग करता था। अच्छा। तो रात को मेरा प्रोग्राम था, शाम को 5 बजे हम सीजन बॉल से क्रिकेट खेल रहे थे। अच्छा। तो एक गेंद ऐसी लगी मुझे यहाँ, अभी भी ये उंगली टेढ़ी है मेरी, और रात को प्रोग्राम बजाना था। तो पिताजी बहुत गुस्सा हुए। तो अब प्रोग्राम में जैसे तैसे बजा दिया। तो दूसरे दिन सुबह की पिताजी को बोला कि पापा, आई एम सॉरी, मैं आज से सिर्फ बांसुरी बजाऊंगा, संगीत करूंगा और कुछ नहीं करूंगा। उसके बाद दूसरे दिन से मैं क्रिकेट खेलना छोड़ दिया।
बिल्कुल छोड़ दिया?
जी।
पंडित हरिप्रसाद चौरसिया जी से मिलना कैसे होता है और उनकी शागिर्दी में आना आपकी ज़िंदगी का मेरे ख्याल से एक सबसे बड़ा टर्निंग पॉइंट रहा।
मेरे पिताजी और मेरे गुरुजी बहुत अच्छे दोस्त थे और मेरे पिताजी उनसे काफ़ी बड़े थे, मगर वो अपना मेरे गुरुजी को अपना गुरु मानते थे। पिताजी ने भी पंडित जी को गुरु माना था और नेचुरली मुझे भी उनसे जाके ही मिलना था सागर में। तो वो तो होना ही था, तो मुझे याद नहीं कैसे हुआ, पर एक वाकया है कि मैं उनका पहला गंगा बंधन शिष्य हूँ। उन्होंने उनसे गंगा बंधवाया और उनकी तो पूरी दुनिया उनको बांसुरी को चाहती है। तो मैंने उनसे सीखना शुरू किया, करीब मैं 13 साल का था तब गंगा बंधन किया। और वो वाकया भी बहुत मज़ेदार है क्योंकि पिताजी ने तो मेरे काफ़ी राग तैयार किए थे, मेरा बेसिक पूरा तैयार था। तो वो गुरुजी ने बोला कि अच्छा तुम क्या बजाते हो? तो मैं बोला कि गुरुजी आप जो बजाएंगे मैं बजाऊंगा। अच्छा ये राग बजाते हो? हाँ बजाता हूँ। फिर 5 मिनट उन्होंने वो राग बजाया, मैंने भी उनके साथ बजाया, फिर और 5 मिनट दूसरा राग बजाया, ऐसे 4-5 राग उन्होंने चेंज किया। कहते हैं इसको तो सब आता है, मेरे पास क्या सीखेगा ये, इसको तो बांसुरी आती है। तो मैं गुरुजी मुझे बांसुरी कुछ नहीं आती है, मुझे बांसुरी भी सीखना है, आपके पास संगीत भी सीखना है और ज़िंदगी कैसे जीनी है वो भी सीखना है।
रूपक जी, जो ये विभिन्न साइज़ की बांसुरियाँ यहाँ रखी हुई हैं हर प्रकार की, इनके बारे में बताइए और इनकी ज़रूरत क्या है? एक बांसुरी काफ़ी नहीं है क्या?
एक बांसुरी काफ़ी है। हम जब शास्त्रीय संगीत बजाते हैं तो एक ही बांसुरी बजाते हैं। जैसे बॉलीवुड में बजाते हैं, रिकॉर्डिंग्स में बजाते हैं, तो हर एक स्केल होता है, उसके हिसाब से राग के हिसाब से हमको बांसुरी चेंज करना पड़ता है।
अच्छा।
और दूसरी बात यह है कि ये साइज़ जो है छोटी से बड़ी जो हो जाती है, इतना भी साइज़ है और 40-42 इंच का भी साइज़ है। तो जैसे हम बच्चे होते हैं तो हमारी आवाज़ छोटी होती है, तो वैसे छोटी बांसुरी है, उसकी आवाज़ हाई ऑक्टेव में होती है।
अच्छा।
जितनी बड़ी हो जाती है तो उसका आवाज़ बेस में हो जाता है। उससे भी बड़ी है तो उससे भी आवाज़ बेस में हो जाता है। अच्छा। तो बस हमारा जैसे मानवीय शरीर है वैसे ही बांसुरी का भी है, जितनी छोटी बांसुरी आवाज़ छोटी
बड़ी होती
तो आवाज़ बड़ा हो जाता है।
Wow, that was so interesting, isn't it? And especially like we heard what he said to his Guruji, that I not only want to learn flute from you, but I also want to learn the way to lead life. That was so amazing, and in the end he also compared flute with our body, our anatomy, in the sense that when we are young our voices are shrill, so the small flute sounds shriller as opposed to the bigger flute which sounds heavier, just as our voice changes as we grow older, right? So that was so amazing. So after having heard his classical compositions and his classical presentations, let's now listen to Pandit Rupak Kulkarni ji playing Rag Mishra Pilu, semi-classical composition, and this one is a composition set to Tal Dadra, which is 6 beats cycle, and very sweet, very melodious Mishra Pilu. I'm sure all of you have heard Pilu so many times, Ni sa re ga re sa ni sa re ma pa ni pa ga re ga sa ga ma re ma ni pa ga re sa ni sa ma pa ni sa pa ga re sa ni sa ga sa. This is Mishra Pilu, and let's listen to this composition in Dadra Tal from Pandit Rupak Kulkarni ji. Wow, wow. It was such an amazing example of something that was very peppy in terms of the beats, but at the same time, very, very soulful in terms of the swar patterns, right? And the tune. And of course, the instrument itself, right? So soothing and so soulful. Such a unique combination that. So that was Rag Mishra Pilu that we heard from Panditji. And now, as always, concluding with Rag Bhairavi, as we always do. Now, this is a different kind of a composition because normally in every composition, we have the rhythm being played, the beats being played. This one is just instrumental flute. And in fact, in the video that is available for this particular recording on YouTube, the title itself says Meditative Rag Bhairavi. Right. So, and looks like Panditji probably recorded it amidst nature because you could actually hear the sounds of birds chirping in the background, and it sounded very unique and different. So maybe the recording quality might not be as crystal clear as studio recording, but still something very different to listen to. And of course, the way he plays and the rag itself, along with the magic of the instrument, all put together, amazing package. So here we go, meditative rag Bhairavi. Wow, wow. Let's all salute this amazing contemporary flute maestro, Pandit Rupak Kulkarni ji. And let's pray to the Lord Almighty that his music just keeps growing and expanding, and may it keep enthralling audiences all over the world. And may everyone just dive deep and feel the meditative and at the same time very melodious and sometimes even the peppy aspect of his music. So, thank you so much to all of you for having taken your time out and to have watched this episode. And of course, there are all the other Swarshravan episodes. This was episode number 45. And please do take your time out whenever you, have some relaxing time and a time where you feel that you want to listen to some music or know about some artists. Please do explore our YouTube channel, in which we have Swarshravan, all the previous episodes talking about various legends, contemporary or even the legends of yesteryears. And next month we will definitely be meeting you again for the last episode of 2024, right? And that will be episode number 46. So until then, stay safe and be happy and stay blissful and continue to enjoy listening to all these legends, both instrumental and vocal. Thank you so much, and until next time, Namaskar.